glasses are somewhere at home. She couldn't see Spot.
Wow.
You know, when I preach from Isaiah, when I study Isaiah, Kathy, do you ever feel sorry for Isaiah? He got stuck with some bad stuff to tell the people. He was not telling a happy song sometimes. He was reminding them of how tough things were. I pick up where John left off, chapter 64. But now, O Lord, you are our Father. We are the clay, and you are potter, and all we are the work of your hand. Do not be furious, O Lord, nor remember iniquity forever. Indeed, please look, we all are your people. Your holy cities are a wilderness. Zion is a wilderness. Jerusalem is a desolation. Our holy and beautiful temple, where our fathers praised you, is burned up with fire. And all our pleasant things are laid waste. Will you restrain yourself because of these things, O Lord? Will you hold your peace? Will you afflict us very severely? That really doesn't sound like the joy of Christmas much to me. But it's amazing it comes on the first Sunday of Advent, right where we are. And I think that there's a reason for that. Because Thanksgiving now is done with. I suspect all of our refrigerators are bare of turkey, somewhat. Yeah, never. So, there may be a little bit here and a little bit there. And I do have one small Glad container in there that has some chopped up turkey that I will make another sandwich out of it. Yesterday we ended pretty much the college football games. And if you're a Georgia fan, I'm sorry. If you're an Alabama fan, congratulations. I could have cared less on that. But at least for the time being, we are in a short time frame of normalcy, I hope. And yet, in the back of our heads, we know what is yet to come. Because for a lot of us, me being one, Thanksgiving is the beginning of the Christmas season. And it's the time when we haven't even gotten through with one holiday that we begin to anticipate another holiday. And it's a time to look forward to the presents that we expect to be under the Christmas tree. And we expect those presents to be there for some of us, and they will be there from us. And as we prepare for the days that lie ahead, the television, the radio, the newspaper, social media is full of ads telling us the things that we want, and it galls me when they try and tell me the things I need. That my life is just not going to have any quality at all if I don't have whatever it is that they're selling. I don't have little kids anymore, but I remember that the cartoons years ago, and I bet to some extent it's that way, they push on Saturday morning. Go tell your mama and daddy you want this under the tree. Y'all get it? And they're working on those children. They want this toy or that game. Now, those of us that are a little bit older, we still get messages. We're told that maybe we want a fur coat or, heaven help, jewelry. Imagine that, going to adults. And then there are the practical ones of us. And the range of gifts for the practical people are from ocean to ocean. Maybe a new stovetop. That would be nice. Maybe a new lawnmower for the men. There's just any sorts of things that practical people that will use rather than just acquire stuff, will use. But the days that lie ahead of us also are days of wondering, particularly for a lot of people, or how are we gonna pay for all these gifts? Now, one common denominator, we all want to be generous. Even Scrooge back there on the back row, we all want to be generous. We all want to say to those that are close to us that we love them. And one way that we have been taught to do this, I think by Hallmark, is by giving gifts. Yet there is a practical side to giving. How do we pay for the stuff that we buy? And you know what? There are a number of really good people who are willing to help us out with our dilemma. The department stores, they're just glad to give us the money that we want, and I'm not sure we need. We just go to the credit department, and they'll give us something, play money, gift certificates, whatever, and you just go and buy all the presents that you want, and you're going to get a small bill on a monthly basis. Of course, there is that insignificant, slight finance charge, but at least you've gotten your gifts. That's done. The credit card companies, the same way. Last week, I had my credit card through U.S. Bank. I got the most wonderful envelope that had 5 checks in it. Blank checks that I could write for any amount up to X dollars. I think it was $3. They were really generous with me. Anyway, we can borrow from them. And they assure us that's going to make for a very, very Merry Christmas. And it's so convenient and it's so easy and just that small amount of interest. There's a certain finance company out there, and that company tells us that we are good for more. Their slogan is that, you are good for more. And this finance company is sure that it wants us to have a happy holiday, and it is willing to go that second mile to help our wishes come true. And that ad is very, very effective for them because it makes us feel good and know that there are people who care about us. So they're going to help us buy our Christmas presents. And when we go into that loan office, if that's the way we do it, oh, they're so friendly. They are so nice. And our expectations are going to be met. And we walk out knowing that there is good service somewhere from people who are willing to loan us money just for a small, insignificant amount of interest. So all of these times come to us when we need a little bit of extra money and while we're preparing. However, we're told, and I suspect it's been the experience of most of us, that the Christmas holiday can be the absolute loneliest time of the year for many folks. It's the time of the year when so many people feel inadequate, especially if we can't afford to treat our family the way other families are treated. It's the time of the year when people just simply hurt, when people are simply lonesome, when people are just blue. We're all, every one of us, real people. And in fact, there are some places that really do understand us. And in those places, folks, like that finance company says, we are good for more. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and there is hope. And in this morning's Old Testament reading, it reminds me of the people who desperately needed to hear those words, you are good for more. You know what's going on here. The scene is that the people of Judah have just returned from Babylon. They've been in captivity for some 50 years. And while they were there in Babylon, oh my goodness, did they have dreams. They dreamed of that promised land of milk and honey. They dreamed of those city streets that were paved with gold. and the buildings that were constructed of precious jewels. But you know what? And you know, such dreams and such expectations are rarely met. I remember when I was 15, and I was 8 or 9 months away from getting a car or driving. And I knew that I was going to get a fine vehicle. My first car that I got 3 months after I was 16 was 1930 Model A4. It was fine, and I had fun in it, but it was not the brand new Mustang that had just hit the market. That was what I was looking for. Reality always has a way of disappointing us generally. And when the people reached Jerusalem, did they find gold streets and jewels in the buildings? That's not what they found. They found burned out buildings, and they found an economy that was just as broken as it could be. They found not happiness, they found not joy, but they found a great challenge to build and rebuild just so that they could live. They no longer worked for riches. They worked just strictly to survive. Reality was there, and those who dared to dream hurt. And I imagine the people of that day felt very much like the people do today, some people. They had their dreams. This would be the year that they would make it. It'd be the year when they would be overloaded with presents. And then came that stark reality of an absolutely destroyed city. The bottom had just fallen out for them. Figuratively, there were going to be no presents. And how those people, some 2,500 years ago, must have wanted to call out, "How long must we wait?" It had been 50 years already, until we are fulfilled. How long must we wait until we have the things, the stuff that makes life rich? How long? And I can just imagine the thoughts. And they didn't know about finance companies then, but if they had them, they might have thought, isn't there a finance company up there in the heavens where we are good for more? You know what? God's people so frequently can feel lonely. God's people can feel deserted. So, to those lonely feelings, those feelings of disappointment, to those cries of hurt, God comes with a message, and the message is simply this: in God's kingdom, you are good for more. God will give us what we need, and then He'll pour out more. God will give to us a Messiah. God will give to us His Son. And it's through that Son that our loneliness is going to be taken away. It's through this Son that we're going to find peace and we're going to find fulfillment. Notice I didn't say we were going to find stuff. I didn't say we're going to find things. It's through the Son that we will come to the place where there's nothing more for us to ask for. Folks, it's true. In God's kingdom, we are good for more. And as we look forward down the road, another 3.5 weeks or so, we too need to hear those words from God. In God's kingdom, we are good for more. And He says that to each one of us because each one of us has our very own hopes and dreams. We look forward to the day when we have every one of our needs met. We hope for the perfect system in government, at work, in our homes. A system where there's no tension, no pain, no frustration, strife, gone out the window. We do want to be able to give so much, even though right now we're not able. And often, so often,